Hi, folks. Just back here with an update for this week. As I mentioned last time, I'm going to try to do this every other week, every 3 weeks, somewhere in that ballpark, just to kind of keep you guys all on the same page. So, last time we spoke, I mainly talked about how the course operates. Today, I actually want to get into the course itself and kind of go from there. So, the very first thing that's on here just talks about how to get started, just watching a video of myself explaining it. Pretty easy. Once students get into the introductory work folder, they are going to go into this area here. There's actually an assignment where they introduce themselves. It's one way for me to kind of get to know students without physically being in person. So also get students used to submitting online assignments and things like that. After that, there's a couple other options here, just talking about how to kind of get into the course, get it set up. When they're finished with that, we have a folder here that talks a little bit about why you should take an online course, why it's important. Many professions anymore, at some point in time, there's going to be some type of training that's done online. This kind of gives a little bit of a precursor to that for students. And then lastly, how they can be successful while learning online. And there's just a couple things there. At the end of this, there is a skills check just to see where students are as far as getting prepared to take this course. This does have a little stipulation. There's 10 questions. Students have to get at least an 8 out of 10 on there to be able to move on. They can take it up to 20 times to get there. All right. Once that's done, I talked about the resource folder last time. We're actually going to get into the first module, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what's inside here. So this is all about how to become a licensed driver specific to Pennsylvania. Inside here, there's a short little video students watch just talking about how risky driving can be. And as young drivers, oftentimes they're a little bit full of themselves. They think they're a little bit more experienced than what they actually are. If you look at all the research that's out there, inexperienced drivers are the ones that are most at risk for being involved in crashes. So it talks a little bit about just the safety and the risks that are involved in becoming a driver. We talk about the graduated licensing system. All that means is you go through a series of licensing in Pennsylvania and in most of the U.S. anymore. You have to get a permit, followed by what we call a junior or restricted driver's license, and then you get your senior or regular driver's license after that. In Pennsylvania, have to be 16 to be able to get a permit. On the day you turn 16, you can go if the DMV is open. That's a little caveat there. One of the things that I always stress to students, if you go onto your app store or however you get apps on a phone or tablet, the Commonwealth has put together a really good tool that has the exact same permit questions that you would see whenever you go for your actual license. So that is a really good opportunity for students to kind of show or kind of be familiar with some of the questions they might see. Once students get a permit, they have to wait at least 6 months. At least. It can be longer than that, but at least 6 months. I highly recommend scheduling the driver's exam as early as possible. You can always postpone it. You can always cancel it. You can set a different date, but typically it takes a little while to be put on the schedule. And there's a lot of different DMVs around us. Sorry
At
for this
this time, we
interruption.
would love students with the last name G, H, and I to the auditorium. That's students with the last name G, H, and I to the auditorium for picture day. Thank you.
Sorry, picture day today at Redland. Getting onto that actual driver's exam can be a little bit long. Sometimes there's a month wait, something like that. There's a bunch of DMVs around us. The closest one is in Summerdale, and they do a pretty good job there. So get up, signed up for that as quickly as possible. Once the day comes to actually get a license, hopefully they do well on the first try. And they get a license, that's when they then have an insurance policy that needs to get started. I've mentioned this last time, but part of this course is typically an insurance reduction in the premium. It's something you may want to reach out to your specific insurance provider just to see if that's true with what they do. I know each individual insurance carrier sometimes is a little bit different. On here, we talk a little bit about why you need auto insurance. A lot of people are really confused by it, myself included. Sometimes I don't understand all the technical jargon in there, but this does a pretty good job. It's a video showing that. Lastly, there is a quiz at the end. There's 15 questions. Students have to get at least a 12 to be able to move on. Once they move on, Module 2 would be available to them. I'll come back later, talk more about that module. I have had a few questions about grading period-wise. The easiest way to sum this up is all work through Module 4 has to be completed by the end of the first marking period. The end of the first marking period is November 1st. Sent a message to students again today with that. Some students are almost done, or I even have, I think, one or two that have actually finished the entire course already for the marking period. They just sit and wait until the second marking period, and then more work will appear. I'll certainly send messages and things like that to let them know. Right. If they haven't started the course yet, I highly recommend they get started. Do a little bit of work each week, and it won't be that tedious of a task. If they wait until Halloween, the end of October, then it becomes a little bit more of a rushed experience. If you have questions, if your son or daughter has questions, have them message me. I'll be back again, like I said, next week or the following with a little intro to what's inside Module 2. Have a great week. Take care.